Welcome to the second day of the Open Doors Week at the University of Tartu. My name is Anna and I'm continuing to be your host for this event. Today we are planning to host 4 info sessions, and the first one is dedicated to master programs in art and education technologies. And specifically, we are going to introduce sound and visual technology and educational technology. But that's not it. Stay with us because 3 more info sessions are coming. And the second info session is going to be dedicated to master programs in languages and cultures, specifically European languages and cultures, Estonian and Finno-Ugric languages, and teaching Russian as a foreign language. These programs are going to be introduced during this second session. And then we are going also to have another info session for the master programs in society and state. And we will have 2 programs introduce politics and governance in digital age and contemporary Asian and Middle Eastern studies. And and then there will be, apart from the program presentations, we are also going to have student discussions, and we are going to have students from all of the programs that are going to be introduced today, so you will have an excellent chance to ask the questions from the current students who are enrolled to the programs and who can share their experience. And also would like to remind you that tomorrow we are going to have online tours around the University of Tartu campus. So if you would like to see how the buildings looks inside, how our labs look alike, where you will work, or how our classrooms look alike, then we are welcoming you to join. And right now, today, we are going to start with our info session in art and education technology. And here with me, I have 2 of our speakers who are going to introduce this program. And I have Kadri Steinbach, who is joining us online from VLND and who is going to introduce sound and visual technology. And I have here with me on the stage Emanuela, who is going to introduce educational technology. So we will first start with Kadri's presentation and then with Emanuela's. And also, I would like to remind you that this is the best place to ask your questions. So if you applied or if you are still planning to apply, this is the best place to ask questions from the program managers who are going to consider your applications and to get good tips on how to be a successful candidate and how to get a study place at the University of Tartu, or ask any questions that might concern you in the future. So how to ask the questions? So if you're joining us from the workshop, then you can see that next to every info session that we are hosting today, there is a Q&A button, which you can press, and then you can type your question, and then we will answer this question online. Apart from that, our event is also streamed in YouTube and Facebook, so you can also leave your comments there. We also try to cover these questions as well. However, we can't promise that we can do it online. So please, if you would like your questions to be answered online, join please workshop. All right, I wish you a great second day of the Open Doors Week, and I will give a floor to Kadri, who is going to talk about sound and visual technology program. Kadri, the floor is yours.
Hello. Nice to meet everyone, although I don't see anyone, but I hope there are a lot of prospective students there, and I'm greeting you from the sunny Viljandi, and I'm going to introduce you a bit our sound and visual technology master's program. First, some words about Viljandi Culture Academy, which is actually one of the biggest institutes in humanities department of Tartu University, and the biggest regional college in Estonia. We offer 8 study programs From the 8, 5 of them are in the BA level and 3 in the master's level. And one program is taught in English, and that's our sound and visual technology. We have in the Culture Academy approximately 700 students and 100 and plus employees. And also we are engaging a lot of professionals from the field to teach in our academy. We have different buildings in Viljandi. I'm not able to do your tour right now in our buildings, but we are located in 3 places. In our main building, which is this lower picture on the screen, we have mostly theatre and dance students and also cultural management students. But for our master students in the main building, we have 3 recording studios and a black box with the lighting equipment. In the left, you see this not so pretty brown building, which is actually called Music House. And inside this not so pretty building, we have quite a nice place. Let's say we have their fully equipped sound recording studio and also rehearsal rooms for all, which is connected with the music. And this third building is called Vilma building, and that's where our video studio is located. So all of these buildings are very important to our master students. First, I must say that Viljandi is not in Tartu. That is common mistake that sometimes our prospective candidates do, that they come to study in Tartu University, but actually in our case you will be studying in Viljandi. And Viljandi is actually not far from Tartu at all. It's only 1 hour drive. The bus connection is very good, and actually it's 2 hours to the Estonian's capital, Tallinn. So it's also possible to take bus and trains to Tallinn as well. So although we are not in Tartu or Tallinn, we are in the good place. And Viljandi's main virtue is actually its smallness and coziness. Our students often say that it's a perfect place to create, because it's a small, everyone knows everyone, and students interact very much together, and that's where some new creative ideas appear. So that's place actually for you to create within 2 years. As for our program, we have a 2-year program, master program, and sound and visual technology has 2 specializations. You can either be a sound technology master or visual technology master. Actually, in the reality, it's also possible to combine these 2 specializations. And often our students do that. They take subjects from the both specializations, and it's not so uncommon that even if you're, I don't know, very good at sound, you still want to be good in visual side as well, and vice versa. So actually you can take both sides and to be like more with a broad perspective. I have written down our semesters. 2 years, it means that we have 4 semesters of subjects. And in the first semester, we are very much into general subjects, and also this kind of maybe introductory subjects in the specializations as well. As you can see in the general subjects module, you will introduce yourself with audiovisual culture and semiotics, cross-media technology, and also academic writing, which is an important part of your studies. But also there are important subjects, for example, sound and visual arts project, which is one opportunity to do creative things with your colleagues in the curriculum. One of the virtues and very good things about Viljandi is that in the BA level we have programs in music and theater and dance. It means that you always have people to work with, because sound and visual technology are not kind of subjects you can do alone. You can do it, but maybe it is more important to work with people from the creative fields. So we have all the time very good musicians, dancers, and actors, for example, you can work with and create new projects. And also, it's there are some specialty subjects, but as I said, for example, this year our students took both subjects. They get to know lighting design, but also how to record and create sound for surround, for example. Our subjects, some of them are not commonly, I don't know, like in every week, or sometimes our subjects are taught in intensive cycle. And for example, in this recording and creating sound for surround and virtual reality, it was made up from the workshops, and our students had chance to do very long and intensive days in the Taltech virtual reality center. So they really had this hands-on experience on virtual reality. In the spring semester, you will continue with some of the subjects, but you also have some additional ones, for example, like graphic and motion design, or mixing and mastering in the sound field. And you also start with your master's seminar. It's the time the first in the spring of the first year to start think about your final project or your final thesis. So that's what takes place. And you also have opportunity to start with a specialty practice. Our curriculum is very practical, and it involves a lot of hands-on things. So it also involves quite a lot of specialty practice, where you can choose your practice place or internship place. You can be helping out in the school events, but also we encourage students to choose internship places out of the school. For example, we have a lot of connections with big rental companies in Estonia, Estonian National Broadcast, Estonian National Museum, whatever, so different theaters. So it's possible to choose your internship place according to your interest. And we try to support and encourage this, your choice. In the second year, autumn semester is also about some specialty subjects, and as you can see, there are a lot of specialty practice, and so this autumn semester is almost half of it is dedicated to internship and try out your skills in the work environment. And in the last semester, you actually concentrate your final in your final project. It's possible to graduate with two options. You can either choose a master's project or master thesis. And master thesis is classical master thesis. You have to write and like proper research paper and so it's more like on the theoretical side. But it's also possible to finalize your studies with a master's project, which is actually consists of two parts. One of them is a written part, and most important is creative practical project. For example, our students have done, for example, 3D video to the one Estonian ensemble Puuluup and presented it. And another student made mapping project for a drummer, so it's different options you can choose from. So you have plenty of time to prepare this project and to find this project which you really want to do. Actually, that's our aim. That this your final thing is something you really want to do, and then this supporting your interests. Big question always, why you have to choose this program, or why should you do it? I already mentioned creativity, practicality and connectivity. It means that Viljandi is a very good place to be creative. You don't have too much out there sources or noises or whatever. You can concentrate to be creative, and that is supported with a very cozy and very nice environment. Our curriculum is very practical, as I said. Almost all of the subjects include this hands-on experience, and you have a possibility to try out all the skills right away. And connectivity, that is what I also mentioned, that you have a lot of musicians and students from the BA curricula to work with. You have professional musicians to work with, and you have very tight connections between students in Viljandi Culture Academy. We have quite diverse study environments, and that is, I think, one big plus for our curriculum, that you can use these environments for individual work. So we have professional sound studio and video studio you can use to create your own projects. So that's one big advantage, I think. Okay. And our buildings are open from the 8 in the morning until 1 o'clock in the night. So it's like not like 24 hours, but almost.
Kadri, I'm very sorry for disturbing you, but you have less than 1 minute left.
Yes, very good. I'm wrapping up already. And finally, what I already mentioned, possibility to make super interesting and creative master program project or thesis. That's, I think, one very good opportunity to make your dreams come true, let's say. I wanted to share example from our students, but it's not possible. But anyway, our students from the Masters and BA program were in the Estonian Eurovision Song Contest final, and they made a second place in Estonia. So it was all created in Viljandi and also created from the videos and sound was done in Viljandi and in our programs. So I think that wraps it all up, and culture lives here, I think. So I'm want to meet you all in Viljandi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kadri, for your presentation and then also for outlining the curriculum of your program. And also would like to mention that unfortunately we couldn't show right now the examples of the student works, but we are going to send all of the presentations that are presented during the Open Doors Week, and then you will be able to follow the link which Kadri's presentation includes, and then you can also see already separately the student works from your computer. Thank you very much, and I would also remind you that you can leave your questions, and we are going to open our Q&A in the end of this info session. And right now I'm going to give a floor to Emanuele Bardone, who is going to talk about educational technology program.
Thank you very much, Anna. Thank you very much for this very nice introduction to our colleagues from Viljandi. I'm not Estonian. I come from Italy, and I can tell the foreign students that Viljandi is a very nice place, and it's really the way in which the colleague described it, a peaceful place where you can be creative. But now let's talk about our master's program, which is in educational technology, not in technology education. I'm going to give you a short introduction about the program, try to stress the reasons why you may want to come and study with us. So this is the outline. I'm going to talk about what it is, what this master program is all about. I'll be talking about our EdTech philosophy, our approach to educational technology, so more or less you may understand what you can expect from this master's program. Then for who? This is the big question, who are the students who have taken this master's program in the past and who we would like to invite to join, and then a few words about the teaching staff members. So let's start from what it is. This master's program is advertised as a blended master's program. Sometimes we say almost online master's program. And the reason is that, at least in theory, and I will say a few more words about this, we start with actually an on-site session, in spite of the fact that the whole master's program is actually online. The on-site session used to take place before COVID in the second half of August. This is a very important period, a very important moment, because it's a very intense study period in which we get to know each other. You're going to come to Tartu. After that, everything is going to be online. This master's program is 1 year long, or actually, to be more precise, 10 months, which means that we start mid-August, and then the defense is in June, so more or less after 10 months. Because of COVID, as I said, the last 2 years, the program has been running as a full online program. I'm not so sure what we're going to do this August, because it's always a big question mark. We would like to hold the session in Tartu, because we've seen that it's actually very important to meet, especially because, as I said, this is a blended master's program. It's not a traditional online master's program. After this on-site session, which will be hopefully happening in Tartu, everything is online. In June, we meet again for the defense and for graduation, but this is not actually compulsory, which means that if there are issues, you can basically defend online. And this has been the case, as I said, due to COVID for the past 2 years. This is the curriculum. Now, I don't have so much time to get into it, but essentially this is a 60-credit program, master's program. ECTS means European Credit Points. The first semester used to be dedicated to courses, whereas the second semester is supposed to be more for writing the thesis. We actually have a traditional thesis. We don't have a project, but as you will see, we encourage you to use methodologies that would, in theory, allow you to have a more practical kind of final work. As you can see from the title of the courses that are actually displayed on the slide, Introduction to New Learning Paradigm, Collaborative Learning, Psychology of Learning, we have a curriculum that focuses a little bit more on the pedagogical/educational part, because this master's program is called Educational Technology, but we're not actually studying technology per se. We are actually studying, teaching and learning how to use technology in the educational domain. So we're not going to teach about how the computer is made of, parts, how it works. We're going to try to see how we can use digital technologies for teaching and learning. And that also explains why the majority of courses are actually educational courses or subjects in the area of education. One important thing to mention, but I'll be saying a few more words at the end, is that this master program allows those who don't actually have an educational background to sort of bridge the gap. At the same time, it will also give those who already have a pedagogical or educational background to brush off their competencies, update their own professional skill sets. So we have tried to accommodate for both, let's call them target groups, for both types of potential candidates. Then, how about our EdTech philosophy? Originally, I studied philosophy, and so for me, it's actually very important to understand what we're heading for, and especially addressing the question why. So why educational technology in the 21st century? Let's say that the main component of our EdTech philosophy are the 3 points that you see on the slides. The first thing is that we try to bring together people who are, for different reasons, committed to educational innovation. Educational innovation is a word that we often use instead of technological innovation or just innovation per se, because we are committed to try to change something about the education system. So once again, I want to repeat the message. This is not a master in technology, it's a master in educational technology. The second aspect that is actually describing our EdTech philosophy is that essentially we want to work with educational technology. So once again, we don't study technology per se, but we want to see how we can use technology in order to, let's say, transform the education system. And then the third aspect that explains the reason why this master's program is offered as a blended master's program is that we want to overcome geographical barriers. This has been, I would say, a very good choice during COVID, because the master's program has not been disrupted over the past 2 years. Of course, single students and single teachers have been annoyed, if not disrupted, by the pandemic. But all teaching and learning activities were carried out online, and we were actually prepared for that. So, as I said before, our courses from September onwards are running as online courses, so this is a big plus. So you can be wherever you want and you can be part of this master's program. Then these are other aspects concerning the master's program. We call it a convivial blended space. So blended is, again, a reference to the fact that we try to combine different aspects that are usually considered not opposite, but that are not always going together. The first obvious blend is the fact that, as I told you before, we meet in Tartu, so we start with an on-site session, but there are also other blends that we take advantage on. One of which is, for example, that we really focus on learning conversations, which usually take place across very different media. It can be on Teams, on Zoom, it can be also in Tartu. Then the other blend concerns the fact that we really want to be practical, and we are really addressing educational practitioners, which translates into this idea that all the tasks and assignments for courses are actually tied to practice, to what you're doing at work if you're already working. Another important aspect is that we try to be together in very different ways. So, as I said before, we can be together on Teams, on Moodle, on Zoom, and of course also in Tartu, which also means, and this is actually a very important point because many prospective students have asked me this question, we actually don't have traditional lectures. So we're not going to have these annoying and sometimes even boring video lectures in which the teacher or the professor is speaking for about 90 minutes. We actually have webinars. On average, we have from 3 to 4 webinars per courses. So you can imagine that especially in the first semester, you will have roughly 2 or 3 webinars per week. And webinars are conversations, as I said, learning conversations. So it's a very different way of learning, especially if you have been studying, let's say, a few years ago. It's a completely different one. It's, as they say, more student-centered. But so much so, it's more about the relationship between students and lectures, but also between student and student. These are some quotes that came straight from the horse's mouth, which are mostly about the sense of community that both students and lecturers usually develop during the year. So, for example, Michelle, who is a current student, said that one of the most valuable thing is the connection with other students. Then Pirio, whom you're going to meet later, mentioned the sense of togetherness, in spite of the fact that the course for them has been so far fully online. Then Ian again repeated the same message, the sense of community. Students usually have a WhatsApp group in which they exchange. I know that there are millions messages going on there. So in spite of the fact that it's partly online, fully online for them, they are not treated as individuals in their room connecting to Zoom, okay, often with the webcam off. There is a sense of togetherness. And then the last quote is from Tim, who was part of our first cohort already 4 years ago. He actually says that one big thing about the master's program was the possibility of to combine work and practice. Then this is the map of the world. Due to recent events, I would just skip this because it feels like the global order is pending upon us. But this is just to say that we got students basically from all over the world, from all continents, and our class is really a multicultural class. Speaking again about Tartu, about the sense of togetherness and community, we actually have the so-called Tartu EdTech community, which includes lecturers, former and current students. If you want to know more about it, just go to Facebook and just type Tartu EdTech community and you can have access to it. We're also present on social media. We have a fantastic YouTube channel, Instagram account and Facebook where we try to communicate with you. Then for who, and this is actually probably the most important thing. So basically we invite everyone who wants to transform their practice with the help of educational technology. Another thing that you may expect from this master's program is to develop skills that you may need also to help others. We have had several educational technologists who are basically teachers or also IT people who decided to have a different role at schools, which is more a supporting role. So they're not teaching, but they are supporting other teachers developing their EdTech capacity. And then, of course, we're also open to everyone who would like to pursue an academic career in EdTech or educational research, because the University of Tartu has a PhD program in educational research. So 1 minute to go. The last 2 slides, Anna. These are the people that so far have been gravitating around our master's program. So most of our students are or have been teachers and educators. We also got university lecturers, school directors, educational technologists, as I said before, but also entrepreneurs, people working in HR, and also parents who wanted to know more about this world of EdTech, and that's who we are. This is the teaching staff. These are the teaching staff members for the next academic year. Some of us are Estonians, others are from even different continents. For example, Eric is from Mexico and myself from Italy. So this is it.
Thank you very much, Emanuela, for your presentation. It was really nice to hear about the program structure, and the team that is going to teach, and the students' feedback as well. If you would like to know more about educational technology program, please leave your questions in workshop. And we are going to soon to open Q&A session. Also would like to remind you that if you have any questions to students from sound and visual technology or from educational technology, then please stay with us, because after this session, we are going to host a student session where you can also ask questions from the students and actually learn how their experience and how these programs, how it's going for them as well. So now I will open a Q&A session, and we have received already some questions. And the first question is going to be addressed to Emanuele, and it's going to be for educational technology. So if I don't work as a teacher currently, can I apply for educational technology, or is it going to be a disadvantage for me?
So the short answer is yes, you can apply. Whether it's a disadvantage or not, I would say that it's up to you. Most of our students are actually in-service teachers or university lecturers like me. That's a plus, of course, because all the assignments and all the tasks can be directly related to what they're doing in their workplace. But we also had people who were just interested in educational technology, and of course they will develop their own perspective, and their perspective will also be complemented by other students who are actually in-service teachers or lecturers. So I wouldn't say that it's a disadvantage, and I, of course, invite you to apply.
Okay, thank you. The next question we have to Kadri. We cannot see her on the screen right now. So we have a applicant who cannot choose probably between 2 specializations, sound and visual technology, and asking, is it necessary to indicate the specialization in the motivation letter already while applying for the program, or it's possible to make the final choice once already admitted?
Yes, thank you for the question. And it's possible to choose actually after the application, and actually you can even choose during the first semester, because sometimes I know the types that want to take both specializations, and sometimes it's hard to choose because both seem very interesting. But in the first semester, actually, you can take both subjects and then decide whether you want to be more on the sound or more on the visual side. So you don't have to choose right now.
Thank you very much. The next question we have for educational technology. How can you describe your distant work?
distant work?
I assume that this is more about the courses, considering that they're conducted online. So,
okay, so distance work in this master's program. So as I said before, we have webinars. So all the online courses have webinars. That are basically like seminars. In the first semester, you may expect to have, as I said before, about 2 or 3 webinars per week. The webinars are always held in the second part of the day, so late afternoon. It also very much depends on time zones, because we're also looking at that. So, for example, this year we have a person from Vancouver, Canada. So we decided to start all webinars after 4:30, which is like 6:30 in Canada. But all webinars are also recorded. So if you miss the webinar, you can always review it later on. Of course, the recording is not a direct replacement because you cannot interact, but it's not that if you cannot attend the webinar, you're out. And webinars are just one part of the way in which we are present to each other.
thank you very much, Emanuele. Kadri, the next question I have for your program. So are there any collaborative projects possible, for example, for master's thesis? I mean, I guess it's meant if it's possible to have like the final project in collaboration with other students.
Yes, we haven't had such projects yet, but actually it's possible to do it. Of course, we have to understand what's the role of each student in the project, but theoretically we even encourage that kind of collaboration between students.
That's great. Thank you. The next question we have to Emanuele. I have a bachelor in teaching English and German. Would this master program give me a sufficient chance to work as a teacher in Estonia?
Okay, this is a very, very important question. We had in the past a student who admittedly said that she took the master's program because precisely of getting this certification. The problem with the bachelor's degree is that you have to be careful and see if you have enough credits, because this master's program, in theory, expects you to already have a master's degree. So just check with the admission office if all the papers are in order.
Thank you very much. Kadri, we have a question about Viljandi. So the applicant is asking about the accommodation in Viljandi and if there is a dormitory or something offered to students.
Yes, we have 2 dormitories, so it's possible to actually our current students, international students, all live in the dormitory, so it's possible to use dormitories as well. But sometimes, especially during the studies, students tend to collaborate on finding apartment in Viljandi, so it's also possible to share apartment, for example, but at first it's easier to choose this dormitory option, so it's possible, yes.
Yes, so I also would advise to stay with us because we have a student joining us from Sound and Visual Technology, and maybe he will also tell a little bit more about his experience in finding accommodation as well. So I guess next question we have to educational technology. Is it planned that the program will be online in the future? And there are also some concerns if the person is not going to be able to come to Tartu to join the sessions in Tartu.
Yes, I mean, I fully understand this concern, and this is also my own concern. As I said before, in the past 2 years, we canceled the on-site session in Tartu. It was particularly hard the first year because, of course, it was the first year, the first time. We basically turned everything into the online format. In both cases, we made the decision together with the students. For example, last year, we made a decision at the end of May, and we just voted. So by the end of May, we know more or less who is going to be part of the master's program. And as a program director, I will call for a meeting and we will discuss and then make a decision democratically. Of course, it very much depends on the number of people who would not be able to make it to Tartu. If it's just a matter of 2 or 3 people, we may try to do the hybrid, which is always close to committing a suicide. But we will see. We will see. Last year, for example, some students actually came to Tartu, but all learning sessions were online. So we are educational technologists. So we will find a way to welcome everyone who would like to start studying with us.
Yeah, thank you very much for your flexibility. All right, we have some questions about internships and how to find it. So maybe we also can make around, Kadri, if you can start, if there is an internship within your program and how to find it, and if maybe the university is helping somehow to find an internship.
Yes, I already mentioned that we have several partners in Estonia, where we always can direct students to find this internship place. But actually, we encourage students to go abroad also to have this international internship because we have designed this 15 credit points of internship, which is actually is according to the Erasmus program, this amount of internship, and our students have previously been in, for example, in the Czech Republic to do their internship. So actually, it's very individual in a way, and it's according to the students' interests and aims in this program where they want to do their internship. And actually, this internship doesn't have to be done in one place at all. You can take, let's say, internship bites or something like that, and to do, for example, week in one place. Then something else in another. So it's very flexible, very individually designed, and we are helping out students as much as we can.
Thank you very much. And there are lots of opportunities if the internship can be conducted abroad as well. That gives a lot of possibilities. Emanuela, what about your program? Is there an internship?
Okay, so one thing that I have to say as a premise is that because our master's program is slightly different from all other master's programs offered by the university, things are a little bit different. So, for example, if you live in the Netherlands, we cannot arrange an internship in the Netherlands because obviously we don't have access to that pool of possibilities. But as a student of our master's program, you're also a student of the University of Tartu. And in case you want to actually come to Tartu and be here, in that case, we can, of course, try to find a placement for you or a place for an internship. Because the good thing about this master's program is that we have this community, this Tartu EdTech community, and very often we have this network of former students, some of which are also still living in Estonia. They are living in Estonia. So we have a rich network in that regard.
Okay, thank you very much. That's great. Next question probably to Kadri. Is Estonia necessary to find a job after graduating sound and visual technology?
That's a difficult one because nowadays this labor market is so diverse. I think that the answer is that to find job in Estonia is quite necessary to speak some Estonian actually. But and this is actually one thing that we are supporting our international students, that we will teaching them Estonian if they want throughout 2 years. But actually in the field of sound, it's also possible to find some online jobs, for example, do the mixing or mastering in the international field. And it's not necessary at all to to speak Estonian. So it depends actually. For example, if I say that if you want to go to work in a Estonian theatre, then it's quite understandable that you have to speak Estonian. But if you are going to be international sound engineer, then it's not necessary to learn Estonian. So it depends actually a lot of the aim of the students
yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. We have also some questions about scholarships, so maybe we can have a round of discussions about scholarships. If your programs, for example, have tuition waivers, or maybe if there are other scholarship possibilities. Emanuela, maybe you can start.
Yeah, it's a very short and laconic answer from my side, because the university provides 9 tuition waivers, and this is it. So there are no other sources for scholarship, unfortunately.
How many places do you have in total?
In total, we have, well, this is a weird question, because, I mean, we have 19 places, but we accept overbooking up to 54. And as a matter of fact, we started this year with 31 students.
That's great. And actually, if we compare that you have 19 places and then 9 of them actually have tuition waiver,
almost
that's
half
not
of them, yes.
Half of the places.
Yes, exactly.
Kadri, what about your program? Do you have any tuition waivers or any other scholarship possibilities?
We have very few tuition waivers. Out of the 10 study places, we have 2 tuition waivers places. So as Emanuela said, that's it. so nothing more to offer, unfortunately. But maybe one of the new things, which is very, very new, I think, is that Tartu University is also preparing to offer some scholarships for Ukrainian students. So that's very brand new information, and it can help some of our Ukrainian applicants, I think.
Yeah, thank you very much. I guess our time is up, so we will close our Q&A session. Thank you very much, everyone, for being with us today. Thank you, Kadri. Thank you, Emanuela, for introducing your programs. We are going to send the follow-up emails to all the participants, so you will be able to have the presentations, and then you will find the contacts of the program managers in case you have any follow-up questions. And also would like to remind you that right now we are going to continue with the next session, which is going to be with students from these programs. So they are going to share their experience of studying these programs and living, for example, in Viljandi. So stay with us, please, and see you soon.